Hello everyone, and welcome to another demonstration of PC Building Simulator. I'm pleased to report that since my last video, I've made an upgrade to my office. Let's take a look. As you can see, we have 3 workbenches. This will make it easier for me to work on the machines without having to shuffle them between either my storage cabinet here in the corner or the hallway outside. So that all said, let's take a look at our computer and see what jobs we have next. Now, we have 3 jobs. The first is a build from scratch. This user wants a machine capable of playing Rocket League at minimum spec, and the user wants it in 9 days' time. Next, from Bland Bowler, we have a request to replace the CPU and air cooler of the machine. And then finally we have a diagnosis and repair. It's not clear what parts the user needs. So these are all in transit, so we'll receive these machines the next morning. But for right now, let's talk about the build of this rig. Now, I'm not going to order the parts right now. I'll order them along with whatever repair parts I need so that I only pay for shipping once. But we can still get a basic idea of what parts to select when the time comes by using the Will It Run utility. So this person wants Rocket League Simulator at minimum spec. So here is Rocket League. And here we have minimum specs. So this person needs 5 gigabytes of RAM, a graphics card with 4 gigabytes of video RAM, 2 gigs of storage on the hard drive, an Intel Pentium G4500, and for a graphics card, an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1050 Ti. Now the good news is I happen to have a 1050 Ti in my inventory of spare parts, so I don't have to buy that. Everything else I will have to buy, so I'll make a note of that. So for now, let's shut down the computer, exit out of this. We have to wait for the other machines to arrive in the morning, so computer's off. Let's turn out the lights. And let's end our day for the moment. So here we are. And here are our assigned jobs for tomorrow. So let's end the day. And now we have the new machines, so it's time to go to work. So we have this one. Let's put it on the workbench. Let's power up our computer because we'll have to file some orders soon. Here's our diagnosis and repair. Put this over here. Now for our build, we have a note here on the whiteboard. So I'm going to grab this and assign the job to this workbench here. We'll save the build for last. So let's start here. We have to replace the CPU and the air cooler. So let's open up the case and see what this person has. This person has a CryoRig M9i cooler. So we'll remove that. And for a CPU, let's open the shield. This user has an Intel Core i5 6600. So these are the parts we're going to have to order. Now if I go to the install menu and I pull up the list, here's the Core i5 6600 that is broken. We have this other 6400 here that I forgot to sell previously, so I'm going to take care of that now. Now for coolers, there's the broken cooler. So we know that these are broken and they need to be replaced. So let me exit out of here for a moment. And let's go get these ordered. Okay, so for the CPU, we needed a 6600. So we have this. Let's add it to the cart. And we need a cooler. The cooler, I said, was a CryoRig M9i. So I'll just search by that. There it is for $20. Now, before I forget, I'm going to designate same-day delivery. But I'm not done ordering yet. That's only for this one repair job. So let me exit out of here for the moment. Now, let's go over to this machine. Now, this person, all they know is that their computer is not working. So we have to do some diagnosis. I'm going to open the case. And then I'm going to cable up to see what happens when I try turning it on. Now I'm angling my camera here because when I turn this on, I want to see what fans are spinning or not spinning, because that can give me a clue as to what the problem is. So here we go. Okay, as a minimum, we don't have the cooler fans spinning. That's not good news. Let's go over to the screen, and it indicates no CPU found. So as a minimum, we have a dead cooler. We might have a dead CPU as well. So let me power this down. Let's pull off the cooler. Let's look at our inventory here. For cooling, this is broken as well. So we'll have to order that. That's an Arctic Freezer 33 eSports 1. And I have to say, when you're working on multiple machines at a time, it's helpful to take notes as you're going along, as I did here. So we know this is broken. Let's look at what we have for a processor. We have an AMD Ryzen 5 quad-core 1400. Okay, we'll have to order one of those. I don't think we have any in inventory. We have other AMDs, but not this powerful. Let's pull this out. And check our inventory under CPUs. Yeah, we actually have two of them that are broken. One of these I just pulled out. I'm going to sell the one just to keep things clean. Alright, so we have to buy another cooler and another CPU. So let's go over and get that done. Okay, CPUs. We need a Ryzen 5 1400. Ryzen 5 quad-core 1400. Adding that to the cart. And then for cooling, we need that Arctic Freezer 33 eSports 1 yellow. Let's just search by yellow. eSports 1 yellow for $33. Okay, so let's review. We have the CPU and cooler for the first machine. We have a CPU and cooler for the second machine. Now it's time to start selecting parts for the build that we wanted to do. Now, we already established that I have a graphics card in spares that I can use. I don't need one of those. But let's look at the processors. Now, processors, we need a G4500. And it uses the Skylake socket, so we'll select an appropriate motherboard in a moment. So let me add that to the cart. Motherboards. Well, it won't let me search by that, but here we go, Skylake. For this, we can do just the basic Z170M Tech for $100. Now, for memory, we need 5 gigabytes of RAM. So there are a couple of ways we can do this. Probably get a 4 gigabyte and a 2 gigabyte. Let's go by cheapest price, or near cheapest price. Now I could go with a Mortoni Value Supreme. That would be 40 plus 20 or $60. Or for a little more money, we can get a Sheen Titan 4 and 2. That would be 45 plus 25. That would be $70. Well, I'm feeling a little generous, so we'll get one of these and one of these. Okay, storage. Can't forget the storage. We needed 2 gigabytes of space, so the basic 120 gig machine or 120 gig hard drive would work just fine, so we'll add that. Power supplies. The Sheen Power King 300 should do well enough, so we'll add that. And then finally, the case. We can go with the basic Cooler Master Box. It has the biggest internal space for a power supply, a GPU, and a fan. So, add that. And, almost forgot, we need a cooler. Now to set this apart from the other coolers we've bought, let's not buy another of the same of what we ordered for the repair job. So let's get a green one. That's pretty good. Okay, so let's review what we have. We have the CPU and cooler for the first repair job. We have the CPU and cooler for the second repair job. And then going down the list, we have the graphics card we already have. We have the CPU. We have a motherboard. We have 6 gigabytes of RAM, so we're set there. We have a hard drive for storage. We have a power supply. We have a case. And we have a CPU cooler. So we have everything we need with same-day delivery for only $951. So that's good. So let's get this all ordered. Our purchases have already arrived, so let's take a look. Okay, here are our parts. And here's our new case. Let's grab this, and we will put it on the workbench. Alright. Time to do the repairs here. So this person needed a Core i5 processor and a CryoRig M9i. So let's install that. Let's start with the CPU. Here's the broken Core i5. Sell that. Here's the replacement. Mount that. Close the shield. Then break out the thermal paste. Put that on. Now for the cooler. Broken CryoRig M9i. Sell that. Take the new one. Put it on. Cable it up. And time to close up the case. Alright, time to attach the cables here. And power it up. Looks like we have everything spinning here. And it's working. So let's shut this down. One last look. Okay, this is ready to go, so let's grab it. Put it out in the hallway. Alright, next repair job. Another CPU, another cooler. So let's install CPUs. Here's our broken quad-core 1400. Sell that. Take the new one, put it in. Now I'm going to zoom in a little bit. You'll notice there's this tiny little handle right here. There are people who have asked, they've had problems getting it to work after they mount it, so let's put that in place. Very good. Alright, zoom out a little bit. Time to put on the thermal paste. And the cooler. Here's the broken yellow cooler. Sell that. Take the new one, put it on. And attach the cable. From here to here. Very good. Okay, next step is to put the side panel on. Now I'm going to pan the camera over here. Make sure that cooler fan is spinning. Power it up. Yep. And it's working. Very good. Let's shut her down. Alright. Time to put this one out the door. Now the fun begins. Time to build this. So we'll start by opening the case. And we'll want to remove this power supply shroud. And let's start by installing that power supply. Sheen Power King 300. Tighten the screws. Now, just like the last build I did, I don't want to put the shroud back on because we need to hook up power connections anyway. So now, next, let's put the motherboard in. Here we go, Mortoni Z170 M-Tech. Put on the standoffs. Okay, there's the motherboard. Now, let's zoom in and mount the CPU. So let's open the shield. Good. Here's our CPU, the G4500. Close the shield. And put on some thermal paste. And the cooler. It's impressive how gigantic the cooler is related to the CPU that it's actually cooling. That's really something. I remember a long time ago when computers simply didn't need coolers like this on. Alright, time to install the memory. Alright, let's open the clips for both slots to start with. Zoom in to give you a good look here. There's one. And the other. Alright, that's the RAM. Now while we're thinking about it, let's install the graphics card. So I'm going to remove two of these panels here. Now I said I had a 1050 Ti in inventory, so here it is. Zoom in a little bit. There we go. Screw that in place. Very good. Now for the hard drive. Let's open that up. Here's our hard drive. Close that up. Close the drive bay lock. Now it's time to cable everything together. Motherboard connection here, power supply. Another more motherboard connection here, power supply. Let's zoom out and get a better look here. Got a case fan here. Air cooler here. Hard drive to the motherboard. Hard drive to the power supply. Got another case fan here. And finally the power button for the case. And I do believe that is everything. All we have to do is put the cover on. Actually, I almost forgot. Power supply mount. Now the side panel. Now attach the cables here. And then before we power up, we're going to need an operating system. So let's put in our USB drive. There we go. Time to fire this up. Okay, looking good so far, but to be thorough, let's install Will It Run and verify that Rocket League minimum spec will work. Yes, let's restart. So here's Rocket League, minimum spec. Green check marks across the board, so this machine will do what the customer requests. So let's close this out, shut it down, and put it out the door. So you can see that having that third workbench makes it a lot easier to do these jobs without shuffling things around. So that all said, let's take a closer look, make use of our whiteboard, and do the math on how well we did today. Our 3 jobs paid a total of $2,226. To do these jobs, we spent $951 in parts. That leaves us a tidy profit of $1,275. That's enough to pay the rent and utilities for this month and the next month. Pretty good for a single day's work. So there you have it, a demonstration of what I can do with 3 workbenches in PC Building Simulator. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next game.